methamphetamine or heroin. So trying to keep our people safe.
So you mentioned that from a year ago until this last measuring that we had a sizable additional number of calls for Tuckerville.
Correct. So 276 additional calls in the last 12 months compared to the previous 12 months.
Is there any kind of like breakdown on what kind of calls they are? They just
I don't have that. I meant to stop by my office and do a printout, but my understanding is one of my clerical staff should be sending you a quarterly report. Emily, do you know if we're receiving that? Or
We do get it.
you're getting it? Okay.
Yeah.
If I can do a better job at breaking that down next time to see, maybe help identify what types of calls we're seeing an increase in, but overall that 276 is the number.
Okay.
So going back to the jail, is the jail at capacity or is there still?
We have some wiggle room. So our main facility is designed to house 500. But if we get about 460, we start to sweat a little bit because we need some wiggle room to keep different gang members separate from each other. Sex offenders can't be housed with regular inmates or they'll kill them. That's a true thing in jail. So we have blocks with just sex offenders in there, so we have to segregate gangs that don't get along with each other, white supremacists and people of color that we've got it. So we've got to have a little bit of wiggle room there to have some extra space to be able to separate those people. Yeah. But the new space will add 64 more beds. But a big portion of that new wing is going to be medical offices, dental offices, mental health offices. So the care will be given in that wing, but those individuals will also be housed in that wing. Yeah. So it'll be very convenient to have everything under that one roof.
That sounds like a great addition to me.
Yeah, it is.
Be able to treat some of those people.
It is. That's What's that? Well, it's interesting because, by default, we're a law enforcement agency, but I have 12 nurses, full-time nurses that we have two nurses on 24 hours a day. We have 3 full-time licensed clinical social workers. We have a contracted doctor. We have a barber that comes in, a dentist. So all those day-to-day operations. Our kitchen last year, I calculated they made 473 meals last year. So that's a lot of food. Luckily, we have meals down to about $1.80 per meal. So
that's not bad.
We're kind of frugal with that. It is institution grade food, they call it. So.
Making it sound so appealing.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's free, right, to them.
Do you really want to go? The Gray Bar Motel should get a good review.
The price you get at Walmart, everything's $1.88.
I'm trying to encourure people not to come to jail.
Exactly.
So.
I haven't had anybody complain about the facility at all. Yeah. They get fed, they sleep.
What I hear is that our food is actually better than most facilities.
That's
inmates that have been to the prison or Gunnison or other county jails that even over $1.80 per meal, it's pretty decent food comparatively. Good. So,
perfect. Any more questions for Sheriff Brooksby?
Thank you for.
Okay.
Hey,
thanks. Appreciate the invite.
We'll remind people to vote for that in November. We'll keep bringing it up.
Okay. Thank you.
Put it on the agenda because we need to protect the sheriffs.
Yeah.
Well, you know my opinion.
Yeah. So. Appreciate you. Great partnership. Appreciate you guys, and we're happy to be with the idea of growing with you as you grow and keeping your law enforcement services up to par, right, as we grow. So, okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Pleasure having you.
All right, we're going to move on to Ash Creek Sewer District. Mike, good to see you here tonight. Not saying that Mike's bad. It's good to see you here 2 times in a row.
It looks like I'm supposed to give a report, so if you want to just fill in for me on my report. Also,
I'll let Joey take over forever.
Perfect.
One update is I'll give a brief tonight. We've spent a fair bit of time this last month working with the Grapevine Washington Service District. That is the group that is the farthest east portion along Babylon Mills Road in Leeds. Their intention is to pump their sewer around the hill and into the west side of Firelight project. And because that opens up a passageway really for a variety of properties, both in Leeds proper as well as north of Leeds and the county. We've been working on with those two developers to oversize infrastructure in anticipation of future growth. We submitted a memo to both of those parties but we've left them to discuss cost sharing of the required upsizing of the infrastructure through the Firelight project. That's the most immediate need at this point. We've been in contact with Darcy and Scott on those issues, and I think they're moving forward. I think the only coordination item I'll need to do with Darren and Ben is just that, in order to complete that upsize, they'll probably need to leave Mesquite unpaved for a greater time. And they agreed that Grapevine would supply the cash bond so that the final plat can close while that moves forward and get that they can do the upsize that's needed. That's the intent. We'll see how this all plays out. I did see last week that through a post on LinkedIn, actually, that Grapevine Washington, I was suspicious a little bit of their funding. They closed on $95 million worth of bonds last week. So they have funded and they are beginning to move forward. So
I heard they might have a name change already, Silver Reef, Silver Cliffs.
Silver Cliffs.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I have.
That's great.
Real quick note on that as well. The construction plans for phases 1 and 2 of Firelight, with that, they'll build everything except for the pavement on Honey Mesquite Drive. It was only going to be a 60-foot wide road. And so they're going to hold off on putting the pavement and base down because they're going to need to do this additional upsizing of the sewer line. And they will bond for that.
And the road staying 60 feet, or are they?
Yeah,
gonna-
it'll still stay, everything's gonna be the
Okay.
same. The dedication width, everything is just during the construction. So you might think, well, how are we gonna give them finished CO? They will bond for that improvement. And really that is the farthest west road that runs north-south. So it was gonna be right now, it was gonna be very minimally used anyway.
All right. Thank you, Mike. All right, Hurricane Valley Fire District, Merlin.
Okay, just listening to the sheriff talking about all the events. We're very busy right now with Red Bull. They call for so many people up there that we're actually bringing people from other departments to cover on that. Not a lot of people right now, but as we go through the week, as they get their trails built and everything, then we'll have quite a few people up there. We'll also have the Trail Hero thing coming up this weekend. So like I said, everything's coming at once. Got some information from the golf tournament over in Santa Clara, Ivans area that he was talking about. They've got their coverage over there, but we're kind of back up if they need it.
So we're borrowing and they're borrowing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody out around the place. Big shirts again this month, cruise options if they want to wear them or not, but stations should all look the same, so they should be in blues or pinks. Cancer Awareness Month. Just talking about the water tank or the parade home up there.
Yep.
So we'll kind of watch and see how that goes. I drove around the other day. They do have a big water tank up there that we asked them to put up there for
Yep.
fire protection.
Yeah, I drove in there and checked it out too, so.
We can get in there if we need to. I went the back way. I know we can come in off the other side if needed. So, but the road will get done by then. Who knows?
Yeah,
To play that by ear. And then I was going to ask him. He was talking about the medical room out there at the sheriff's office. I'm glad to see him adding on to that. We do a lot of transports out of there, just because they don't have the staffing and to do all their medical that they need out there. So that'll be a good addition for them. Hopefully a lot of that stuff, they can just stay there. The nurses can watch them and they won't have to be transported into the hospital just to be put in a bed for the night. So
yeah, and that's stuff the sheriff or the fire district doesn't make any money on that. That's kind of a lose money thing, so.
that's all I have.
You're not gonna remind us about the open house meeting on Monday?
I was going to wait until that discussion come up.
Okay, perfect.
And
All
encourage
right.
everybody to go to that. Yep.
No, I just wasn't sure if you want to stay the whole night or you're welcome to be here. Okay, Bob's not here, so we're gonna move down to planning and zoning.
Actually, Bob is
Oh,
online.
Bob is here. Sorry, Bob.
You're good.
I'd rather see you, but I can hear you. That's good.
I sent the update video from last Thursday of what's going on the south side.
Okay, hang on one second. Let's get some,
We might need to turn up that speaker.
yeah, let's get some volume up just a little bit, Bob.
Okay.
Try speaking if you could for us, Bob.
Okay, is that better?
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Okay. When I spoke with, this video's from last Thursday, I believe, and when I spoke with Judd Palmer, he thinks they're 2 or 3 weeks away from being done with the south side. We met with the UDOT geotechnical group on Tuesday afternoon, and we have concept approval for the fix on the north side. We're going to meet tomorrow with the power company, and also Jim Nordquist from AGC will be at our weekly meeting to kind of discuss further. And then JP's working on a price for that work so that we can start that process of getting the change order approved. Hopefully we can, get through that part of it quickly so that as they finish the south side, they'll be able to get started on the north side.
All right, anything else change? Did we get the sugar pocket or sand pocket, whatever that's called?
Oh, yes.
Figured out?
Yeah, sorry. Thanks for asking. We did get that approved as well. So Judd's working on a price for that, and we'll get that change order done as well.
Okay, did they give us a size aggregate or what we can put in there, or what they end up telling us?
They just asked what the D50, which is the size of the rock, that 50% will be, and 2 feet is what we told them. So we're gonna,
Okay.
we're just gonna use those bigger rocks to put in there.
Perfect.
Where are we gonna get them?
I don't know where to get those. There might be a couple of those that are that big on that video right there.
Yeah.
Any questions for Bob? Anybody?
Yeah, Bob, do we have a meeting tomorrow morning?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you
9
said
o'clock.
Jim's gonna be there, right?
Yeah, Jim will be there, and like I said, the power district, and I
And
think
that's it.
Washington Conservancy District will also be there because they have a water line they want to discuss. So
Okay, we're good with the sewer though. We don't need them.
nope,
And then you said that's at 9 or 10?
9.
9. I'm gonna see if I can skim down here for that. Okay, anything else for? Okay, thank you, Bob.
Yep. Thanks again.
All right, we'll see you next week, maybe
Sounds
tomorrow.
good.
Okay. All right, planning and zoning. We got Val and Emily both. Who wants to take over?
Val can take it, she's got a microphone. Yeah, but I'm not, I didn't come prepared to. Go ahead.
Emily, can you go to the mic for the people on YouTube because you can't hear
We don't have
you if you're not.
I don't know if we have YouTube, do we?
Yeah, it's going now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going,
Okay,
okay.
got it. So the only thing I have to report is the subdivision ordinance. We finished our red lines and sent those to Attorney Atkins for review. So as soon as we have that back, it'll go before Planning Commission, and then you'll see that unless they have any recommendations first.
That's it?
Yeah, I think Darren will cover the rest.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of things. The changes that the city council asked for on those 2 other ordinances, the public hearing is out for those. That was for the hostile, the word hostile.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other one was, yeah, same thing in 2 different.
That was a
zoning.
big enough change that we need to redo another public hearing.
We wanted it to stay consistent throughout the zoning. We had it hostile.
Right,
hostile,
right, I
different
understand. I
places.
just didn't know if it was a big enough change to actually have to go back and re-public hearing, but if it is, no big deal.
We'd already done it, the
Okay.
approvals, and it's already been codified, so we got to go through that entire process again. That's coming to you from planning and zoning in probably a month.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's good to catch it now.
We'll let
Better
you know,
catch it now
we'll let you
than-
know what the cost is if you'd like.
I don't want to know.
All right, anything else for planning and zoning?
So I've had some YouTubers that are commenting that on this row here, that they're not hearing. Have you had the same thing, Ben? So make sure.
When it cuts out here, it's also cutting out online. So
Right.
we can kind of hear it when it happens.
Like
Just,
now.
right, like just
So,
barely.
For example,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So just step up to the plate there. And
it is not necessarily us stepping up to the place because I've been this close
Yeah.
and almost put it down my throat, and it still cuts out.
Uh-huh.
It definitely, it's maybe the style of pronunciation that I do, or maybe my soft voice if I start getting too soft. But right there.
Well, Merlin had the same problem, so I'm just curious if it's mics
It's-
or.
I think it's the buzzing AC out in the back. I think it's causing some white noise that's.
Oh, it could be.
Yes. We were thinking that because right now, when that AC turns off, you guys, it picks up and does a whole lot better.
Okay, well, we can turn the heat back up, Joey.
Well, that or we can just remove the AC
We
unit.
could move it, transfer it down the
In other words,
wall.
it'll be fixed this winter then, right?
Should, just for the time that.
For the 3 months so. Okay, well, we're going to move on. Darren, just up to you, Assistant City Manager.
So really with Assistant City Manager and the Director of Engineering Services, basically, I have Boulder Ridge final plat. It's, they were asked them to get the Mylar to us, so that'll be coming before Attorney Atkins. The Planning Commission will need to sign it once we have that. Then also, they want to record with a bond, so I do need to figure out what Ash Creek needs to let them, allow them to record without the improvements being put in. But that'll be before us pretty quick. The AME automation with Derek Hall, he did the zone change to BMP. He has pulled a grading permit to start doing that. He's got his construction plans almost complete. We'll be submitting those probably next week. We'll be holding a special JUC meeting to accommodate that. And the Rocky Mountain Power has started their project coming up from the south. You just don't see them because they're over there. Their contractor started in Laverican, and they're coming up Bringhurst Lane right now. The grading permits for everything as Washington County Water Conservancy District are current. And we've got a pre-construction meeting for the Cottom to Casa project, which you guys saw. Or we've mentioned, it doesn't really go through any type of a process. It's a pipeline for the water district. So there's no subdivision or any type of application that way. But we do make sure that everything as far as construction and all the contractors' information is there and that's needed. And then also we will have a pre-construction meeting. We're hoping on another project for the IME automation as well. So really, that's all we've really got going, other than the things that we just kind of talked about last time was the water master plan and the culinary water, the master transportation plan, pressure zone study, and the subdivision ordinance.
That's all, huh?
Yep. And then the parkway coordination plus all the other little stuff that comes in on a daily basis.
So what are you doing with all your time?
Just don't know. And I'm trying to figure out my next vacation. Maybe I'll go to Rampage.
Hey, there you go. Take your bike.
Take my bike. I will. I'll take a whole bunch of them, like about 800.
You taking the kids up?
Well,
The high school?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Okay,
Thanks.
parking bikes. Ben,
Yeah,
city manager report.
pretty exciting times in the city with staff. This is the busy time for like accounting finance department. So, when a lot of people think about accounting, it's tax season, but in city government, it's usually like July through November is kind of the busy time. So we are wrapping up the annual financial audit. The site visit is in 2 weeks. Next week. And then we just finished up our workers' comp audit. That's an annual audit that is done. I'm excited to report on our appeal authority. He's integrated, and he is currently processing our 2 active appeals, land use appeals, that is. And we spoke briefly about other administrative appeals, not land use related. And he reviewed our code and actually said it doesn't require significant updating in order to have an administrative law judge. As a point of reference, he said it took him 1.5 years to update St. George's City Code to allow for an administrative law judge. So he actually complimented Tocqueville's city code. So well done for keeping that clean, at least as it relates to appeals. We have, with our public prosecutor, there have been 11 cases closed since June, to the tune of the number of fines collected. The city receives a portion of the fines collected. That amounts to about $1,500. So not quite covering the cost of having a public prosecutor. We're also, as we noticed, as we gathered in the meeting this evening, there were a few hiccups. We're kind of in the middle of a transition of a city recorder, so that's keeping everybody busy as well. To be discussed.
Yes. All right, anything else?
That's it.
Perfect, short, we love it.
Should we hear from public safety? I noticed he wasn't on the.
He's not on here. Jason, do you have anything, or are we good?
I don't have anything. I'd be happy to stand up and answer questions if you have any.
You got nothing new. I don't know if we need to.
I got one question.
Okay.
That's all right. Any luck, Jason, on the compiling things that are going on within the city and getting it onto a website possibly or something?
Thanks, Mike.
I would be happy to, if this body wants to vote on that and say that's what we want to adopt. And then, of course, we'll go through the city manager to do that. I'd be happy to put that together.
Well, this-
Okay,
We
I'll talk with the city
Yeah.
manager and we'll
Okay,
figure it out.
we'll discuss, yeah.
Okay. That's the city manager and see what.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
Sure.
Yep.
Anything else?
Just to thank you.
Are we enforcing code by the code or only enforcing code by complaints?
We are enforcing the code only by complaints. There is no selective enforcement happening. At 20 hours a week, one man, I mean, I know there's 1,000 code violations happening in our city right now, and I see them. But it's not reasonable. Yeah, so by complaint only, and I'm happy to do that. I think I can keep up with that quite sufficiently.
All right, thank you, Jason.
Okay, absolutely.
All right, we're gonna move into our public forum portion of the meeting. If anyone wants to get up and discuss anything they want that's not on the agenda. All right, we're gonna close our public forum and move into our business item. Business item G1, discussion on Tocqueville Bypass Road.
Did you skip E by mistake?
Oh, no, I skipped right over
Oh,
E.
yeah.
I did, I skipped right over E.
Thank you.
All right.
Can't go back.
Let's go back to E. All right, Hurricane Valley, so my reports, Hurricane Valley Fire District, we'll talk about that. Ash Creek, Mike did a good job. D-Tech, MPO, you know, there's a lot of, on the D-Tech, we've got this street safety, Safe Streets for All, big government project. They're trying to keep the streets as safe as possible for pedestrians, bikers, drivers. They've got a big grant from the federal government to help do a lot of that stuff. Tocqueville is nice as we're so small and our traffic is down that we didn't make any of their major crash sites in the county. So we're not, we will get a little bit of, they're talking about it. They want their bypass road open up for that, but there's not much going on in D-Tech. That's pretty much easy. Joey, I guess we had sewer district, our report. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Well, I can just tell everybody, the last meeting, we went down to the new site, which is in Confluence Park. They've got a lot of concrete poured. It's very impressive what they're doing down there and how much concrete they're doing. The park is now open, I think.
Yep.
Park's back open, so if anybody needs to go through there, go down there. You'll be able to walk right by the construction site and see what's going on anyway. So
It's impressive.
It's very, very cool.
Everything on the north end or south end of Laverque goes down to the river almost, and then gravity feeds back around the hill to the new sewer plant. And it's all no pump. It's just a pressure siphon. It's just siphons back up. Then everything from Tocqueville and of course the north side of Laverque can come around this way into Confluence Park. It's an impressive.
And I think it's December 2025 is probably still the completion date, but.
Yeah. And they're doing 1.5 million gallons a day, and they can bump up to 3 million gallons a day with very little change. So that'll.
And the reuse line is definitely in the works to bring back to our irrigation. So.
Yeah. Yep. They're working on all of that, which is, it's impressive. It's amazing. Those big bays down there are huge. There's a lot of concrete, a lot of steel. So anything else?
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, we're going to move on to Todd, Washington County Solid Waste and mosquito abatement.
Not a lot to report from my last report. The solid waste meets next week. Mosquito doesn't meet till November. The end of the month here, though, for the mosquito abatement is they're having the annual conference here in St. George. So that's about it for now.
I think Washington County mosquito abatement does the best job in the whole state.
They sure do.
They are amazing.
It's amazing their innovation and what they come up with and working within their budget and how they're able to, they have other mosquito districts that come in to see what they're doing and they help out the other districts too with the stuff they've invented and used to
Sean
accomplish
does a
their
great
task.
job.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, Todd, for reminding me to go back up to E. So now we're on G. G1, discussion of Tocqueville Bypass Road.
Essentially, basically, Bob covered most everything in his report. We're just continuing forward, and we know we've been talking to Lauren a few things about what needs to get there. So,
Have we heard anything on the PRV for the water tank to get that tied in?
so I have a meeting with the Sunrise Engineering tomorrow to discuss what needs to do. We asked them to do our pressure zones analysis for the study for the entire city. So that's what's been holding up a little bit. They now have that, and tomorrow we will discuss possibility of needing 2 PRVs. So we'll go over that.
Yeah, and that's all tied into the road with, and we should have power there at the substation.
So I did talk with Rocky Mountain Power with Rustin. He said that they should be probably by the end of this month have power to the bridge down on the south end there, depending on what JP is doing. They're trying to get their infrastructure into that, into the conduits and the vaults coming up the parkway as quickly as possible. He said realistically December 31st.
Okay.
Before they'll have power to the pumps.
All right.
So are we just moving along, or is there anything that's stuck and
Nope.
holding things up?
Everything's kind of moving, not as fast as we'd like, but everything is moving along. There's
Not on
some,
hold on anything at all then?
no, there's really nothing there that's stopped.
And tomorrow with Bob and Jim from AGC, we're going to get
Yeah, we'll
hopefully an
have,
idea on the north slope.
and then we'll also have Rocky Mountain Power at that meeting to discuss
Talk about
that power pole.
And they do have tentative approval.
And they do have tentative approval of both the sand pocket and that from UDOT. So they're part of our discussion. They met today or today, as Bob stated, and they're basically discussing getting the change orders in place for what the cost is going to be.
And Judd will be here tomorrow to hopefully give us a price or anything that.
I don't know that
that
Judd was going to
ready.
be here tomorrow. He'll have, Mike will be there as superintendent. But I don't know if he's got that put together yet, because he still
just
needs
got
to,
it.
once he's got the design, and the design was just a one line. This is the slope of repose. This is that type of
That
thing.
was
They
it.
they still need to come in and do their model. Judd does, to figure out how many cubic yards of basalt and rock needs to be moved. And same thing on the sand pocket. So he's not going to have that by tomorrow.
Okay, well, it's a hope.
Where are they moving all the material to now that the trucks are coming in? Where is that?
Right now, they are going up on just to the south of phases 1 and 2. You guys gave that municipal exception to the grading to allow them to crush rock up there and take it. They're using a lot of it up on phases 1 and 2, but they are taking some of it to the south. If you've seen some of the
Yeah,
trucks and belly dumps going to the south, they've got that one lane shut off that goes right up to the heights. And they're going in and out of there, and I don't know exactly where they're taking it to. Projects could be going to St. George as far as I know. I don't know. I could ask that and find out for you though tomorrow.
If you knew what was going on with respect to the material being taken out of the city. So,
I don't. It's basically the contract is what the contractor is to remove the dirt, wherever location they can get rid of it.
okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions on the highway? All right, discussion on the fiscal year 24-25 budget. I gave this to Darren, but I know Darren hates budget, so Ben.
This is my thing. This is my jam.
hate them.
I have opinions about the budget, and that's that it's one of the most important things that a legislative body for a city does every year. If anybody ever wants to stop in my office and talk nerdy to me, then we'll talk about budgets. So the objective here is that I want to talk about the budget. I can tell when I talk about budgets, after about 5 minutes, you can kind of see eyes glaze over. And so I would rather talk more often in smaller chunks than really huge presentations infrequently. So that's kind of one of my goals here. It was also a big education for me as I'm learning the city's budget. So I was learning this as I put this information together. So as I did this presentation, I wanted to identify any material variations from the adopted budget. We're only 2 months in, so hopefully, we didn't have too many of those, but things that maybe weren't included, the oversights that we might have had, discuss any current budgetary matters that have come up in the interim, objectively measure fiscal health, and allow for questions, of course. So our year-to-date budget update. So 2 months into the year, we're 16% of the way through the year. Our general fund revenues are 13.3%. That's adjusted for property tax because it comes in all in one lump sum. So when I look at how revenue comes in, it'll be adjusted for that. Our general fund expenditures are 17.1%. So we're slightly under on revenue and slightly over on expenditures. And again, those are adjusted for one-time expenses not yet incurred. So if you apply those percentages and put it in a dollar amount, we're about $100,000 over budget. And so right now I'm kind of looking at minor tweaks to make. Again, we're 2 months into the year. This is really premature to say we're over budget at this point, but I am starting to consider small tweaks to make in order to just balance that budget. So one thing that I did want to talk about that was not considered as part of the budget, it was put in front of the council, was voted on, but the numbers weren't plugged in. That was that Sunrise Engineering Transportation Master Plan. It's the TMP, IFFP, and IFA. Those impact fees and the master plan for transportation is primarily funded with a grant, so it's not a big bottom dollar item, but the city does require $15,000 contribution. So that was just one of the oversights we'll see as we consider a budget amendment when it's appropriate. Fiscal health. So I kind of looked at the fiscal health of the city. There's a number of ways to measure this. The first is debt indicators and debt capacity. So our outstanding long-term debt, we really only have one long-term debt loan. The principal balance of that is $89,000. The state constitution dictates municipalities' debt capacity. And with our current assessed, it's based on a percentage of assessed value. That's currently about $12 million. So we're utilizing 0.7% of the debt capacity for the city. Great news with that. This city is about as close. I've done a lot of analysis on city budgets, just kind of over the years. It's kind of interesting hobby. And the cities, Tokerville is about one of the closest cities you get to operating on a pay-as-you-go basis, which essentially just means you're paying for all of your needs as you go. That's not to say that in the future there won't be a need to issue some debt, but currently we practically have zero debt for all intents and purposes. The other indicator is debt service as a percentage of operating revenue. Again, very low, 1.1%. Days cash on hand. This is, previously cities didn't really have to worry about this much, but then COVID happened and all of a sudden it became a major issue. So it is something that we measure, 257 days operating cash on hand. That's a very comfortable margin. Really, the city has no insolvency concerns as I've looked at it. And in the future, I'll do a long-term, the goal is here to have a 10-point financial analysis. This is where we look at the fiscal strength of the city relative to other cities of similar size and nature. So that's something to look forward to. Get you guys excited for that. General fund balance, this is something that I think most council members are aware of, even members of the public are aware of this. So this is essentially what we refer to as rainy day funds. It's that unrestricted money that we hold in our general fund. And over the years, the city has received audit findings for this because the state only allows you to retain, it used to be 25%, it's now 35%. So that red line in the chart, that represents the state allowable amount. And a 5-year history. So we've now it's obviously trending down, and the fiscal year 25. So the current year we're budgeted, because we budgeted a fund balance draw, currently budgeted at 21%. So the other chart there just shows the same thing, but in cash and dollars amount. So we're budgeted to have just under $500,000 in emergency reserves. I put capital projects overflow. There's things that you can do to mitigate this percentage if we exceed 35% and not have an audit finding, but obviously the state auditor never gave the city of Tokerville a hard time for this. So it never became a problem, but there's things you can do to mitigate that problem. Too
much money, it's not much of a problem.
The next thing that I wanted to talk about was Westfield Park, because, this is kind of an ongoing project that's stalled a bit due to funding from my perspective. Maybe there's, at least that's what I understand at this point. As we look at our dedicated revenues or dedicated money that we have available for parks, we've got about $250,000 in total between unspent impact fees, that's parks impact fees, and then recreation, arts and parks proceeds. As an aside, Sheriff Brooksby indicated, he did some ballot discussion. The Recreation, Arts and Parks bill will be on the ballot for this year. It comes up every 10 years, so that's something to consider. It's a sales tax that comes through and that'll be on the ballot. So something to think about. The estimated cost for completion, this is a very rough number, very, very rough number. I don't want to pretend that we have this bid out or anything, but it's about $500,000. And we think that we can do it, again, roughly think that we can do it by handling some of these costs, by handling some of these tasks in-house, and then subcontracting out the parts that we need expertise for. So that includes the courts, the pavilion, electrical, and landscaping. So we've got $250,000 to finish that project, and this is something that will be coming down the pipeline. It'll go in front of City Council for approval, of course, so there will be more discussion about this in the future. I also always ask what the story of a budget is. When you look at a budget, it's just a bunch of numbers, but really what's the story of the budget? And these are some of my key takeaways as I looked at the budget over the last few days. The Parkway Capital Project, the Parkway, the bypass road, is cost 20 times the general fund budget. And to put that into perspective, this is like the city, St. George City, managing all of UDOT funding for fiscal year 24. This is, and the number of, it's kind of mind blowing that the city is undertaking this project and it's not being managed externally. We have a CEM. I don't mean to say that we're managing it all, but this is a huge project relative to the size of the city's budget. Another thing that I noticed is the general fund revenues. Typically, a city will be funded about 33% from each sales tax and property tax, and the remainder will be paid for with fees and that sort of thing. I found that Tokerville City is actually quite low in both categories. So sales taxes is expected because we don't have a large commercial base, really no commercial base. Primarily, we are getting an allocation based on the population. If you guys understand the sales tax formula, we just get an allocation of sales tax because we have a population of about 2,000 people. Property tax is also relatively low. That's not to say we have a low property tax rate. It's just saying relative to the general fund revenue, it's about half what other cities have for their general fund, for their property tax revenue in their general fund. Another very interesting indicator for me was cash construction bonds. So these are grading bonds and construction bonds that that contractors are paying because they're working in the right of way. There's a number of different reasons. We have about 4 of them outstanding right now to the tune of $1 million. What does that mean? It means it's half of our general fund revenue. That means that we have a lot of activity in the city. Like, I guess ultimately the conclusion I came to as I look at the budget, it's like there is a lot going on in Tokerville right now relative to the size of the city. Employment costs are, so this is wages and benefits, are 43% of the general fund budget. I would say this is pretty typical and this is relative to the size of the city, because really cities are very service labor intensive. And the bigger the city, the tighter that shrinks, it shrinks down. So a small town, you'll be 60+%. And as the city gets larger and larger, you get more efficient and you have that percentage comes down. So I think we're about on track as far as the size of the city and the level of activity that we have going on. That wraps it up. So happy to answer any questions council members may have. Like I said, if you want to go through it kind of line by line, my door's always open. So.
No, I know we're getting, changing things now with our recorder gone and that kind of stuff, but we have that in SharePoint at some point. Can we have your slide thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. To have access to that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cash bonds, that's not your money, right?
That is not our money. Nope. And, but we do retain that. And it's essentially on our financial statements, it actually shows as a liability. So it never flows through the income statement. It's just, we receive the cash and then it's shown as a liability as it's paid back out.
And Ben, where do we keep that money? Do we put it in a PTIF account?
Yeah.
So we're getting some
Don't we
interest.
see the expenditure though go out? So we don't see the end, but we see the out?
It doesn't go through as an expenditure. It's just paid out of that liability account.
In the past.
Has it?
Yeah, because I know one was issued back and it was on one of our expenditures and.
Yeah. And that could really throw everything off. Yeah. If it was booked incorrectly. Yeah.
So at $1 million, it's nice having $1 million extra in the PTIF account. That's 4.5% or something we're getting right now.
Yeah, the city's in an interesting situation right now where we are receiving a lot of interest based on these types of things that are happening, the activity.
Any other questions for Ben?
It's nice to hear the story.
Yep, it's awesome. And I'd love to do this once a month.
Happy to do it as free, minimum quarterly. As we move into budget season, as we're talking about strategic planning, it'll be a little bit more often and looking forward. This is more just current updates.
Okay, perfect.
I like that. Thank you a lot. That was, the presentation was
Great.
clearer and easier.
Yep.
All right, Item G3, discuss the possible appointment of Tocqueville City Recorder. So everybody's aware, I'm sure, that Daisy Fuentes has left us. She's moved on. Unfortunately, we're going to miss her. But I don't feel bad that where she went to a law firm in Vegas. So I think she's going to be very happy. We have decided to appoint Emily as our city recorder. Ben, do you want to bring us up on this?
Yeah, so we interviewed a number of applicants, kind of started looking around at various options that we could do. And we encouraged Emily to apply, talked about what that could look like as a hybrid position. And we're very optimistic that we can handle that that Emily can handle both the planning component, planning and zoning administrator, as well as the deputy recorder responsibilities.
Deputy, just recorder, not deputy.
Sorry,
Yes.
You're right. City recorder. Thank you. There are a number of things that are contributing to this. It's not just purely that she's doing both jobs. We anticipate that we will deputize another employee as recorder that can do some of the busy work, like meeting minutes and that sort of thing that really ties up a recorder's time. So I think that we can, through some efficiencies, we have a good plan to move forward. And if planning really picks up and it becomes overwhelming, then we can make a change then. But for now, what this will do is it will also enable the city to have, if it doesn't work, if it comes to a point where we decide it's not working, we can also revert Emily back, and then we will have a redundancy in the recorder position. So.
Yeah, I think it's a great plan. Emily, we're excited to have you wear two hats. So well, maybe just maybe turn them around or something, have to change them. So I have every confidence in the world that you're going to do a wonderful job here. So.
Can I make just one really quick comment too?
Yes, you
Is
can.
basically on the planning and zoning. I still oversee planning and zoning.
Right.
And so I am able to help in that.
Oh,
part
yeah,
if need-
absolutely.
When needed.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's what makes it work on both sides.
And it does. And Emily still is helping on business license and building permits. And so it's great. I love the fact that you can help her. She can help Mary. Mary's going to help do the recording. I think it's going to be, I think it's a great plan. So, and at this time, we're saving a little bit of money by not replacing an employee. So
Yeah.
I think
I
it's wonderful.
second what the mayor just said.
So anyway, so we do,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry, no, go. Right, and then right now in the office staff is Mary and Hannah?
Yes.
Okay. And then we
So-
don't have the,
Creation.
yeah, thanks, Darren.
No, and I've talked to Ben about that. We're going to leave that position open for a
Okay.
while. So
Perfect.
I think that we've discussed quite a bit about Hannah and Mary doing most of that as well.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
yeah, we think we can get a little bit more, they can keep a good handle on it. And so is Emily going to switch offices? We're going to keep her up front or?
Because we want to keep her kind of out of the busyness because she is going to be very busy
Right.
herself. So we're going to
Gonna keep
keep her
her.
here in this office. Yep. But she'll be accessible to anybody that needs her.
We've just got to put another nameplate on her door. There's all.
Planning and
title.
zoning, recorder.
She's going to end up with all of them.
She can be the mayor if she wants. No, I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Emily. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yes, thank you. All right, so I'd like to appoint her. This is what Ben and I have come up with. We just need a motion for you guys to agree to it, so.
I'll make a motion that we approve Emily Teeters as our new Tocqueville City recorder. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, congratulations, and you'll take your oath of office probably tomorrow, Ben? Okay, perfect. Yes, yeah, I know you didn't want to do it before you were actually the recorder, so we're good. All right, we're going to discuss the possible action on refunding a zone change application fee for Jerry Eves.
Take this one. We'll probably tag team it actually. So this was a zone change application that came in without a PSR, which
Right. So kind of some of the background, this goes back to when Riker was here. Riker and I we met with Jerry Eves quite a few times and talked to him about different things that he could do on that piece of property in a BMP zone. He brought up that he wanted to do residential on the northern sides there. We basically told him that wasn't permitted in that zone. And so he took it upon himself to just go in for a zone change or make an application for a zone change. Immediately when we saw the application come through, we just said, hey, you'll have to do a general plan amendment first. And so he's asked for that application fee back for the zone change.
So it never went in front of Planning Commission.
No.
And the fees are intended to cover the cost of administering the program, the planning and zoning department. And so this is purely to the discretion of council. It's written into our fee schedule that any refunds are to go through city council. So happy to answer any questions about it.
How much?
Spend on getting it.
Yeah.
How far did it go?
$1,200.
$1,200?
No.
Oh,
That's
sorry,
what the fee
that's
is.
what the fee was. Yeah.
Effort did we put into?
Probably around about 15 minutes to a half hour over the course of one time. Then it's just kind of drug out for 3-4 months.
So that's an application fee, is that correct?
That is correct. It's an application fee. It's not a.
Under Jerry Eves or David Eves?
I believe Jerry Eves. I'm not. Is it?
David Eves, and this is saying Jerry Eves here.
Yeah, it says David Eves on the.
So they are partners in that project, in the Boulder Ridge
Boulder
project,
Ridge.
and they are they are both board members on that PID over there, the Boulder Ridge PID. So they are business partners on that project.
So So what's your guys' opinion? You know, you guys count the money and spend the money. So are we, 10, 15 minutes a time, 20 minutes, half an hour. I mean, we spend that with people walking all the time. So
This is an administrative decision that's been retained with council. I mean, I would say that if I was making the decision, I would refund
it. Yeah.
because of the time spent and that it wasn't put in front of planning commission.
So that residential's out the door.
He would need to do a general plan amendment first, and then he could come back for his own change if he wanted to.
All right.
There is a process in place for that as well.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to refund the zone change application fee for the Jerry Eves Boulder Ridge project.
I have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? I'd like a roll call vote on this one, Chuck.
Yay.
Aye.
All right, motion is approved. All right, item 5, discuss fire district tax, truth and taxation. All right, Wayne, what would you like to discuss on this?
Everything. So I was approached by another mayor
Mm-hmm.
and was asked maybe if I could put it on the agenda that Tocqueville might draft up a letter of approval or dissent for their budget or for their taxation increase.
Okay.
So I didn't think about it much for a week, and then I thought about it again. And I thought, okay, this person's looking out for her citizens or his citizens or whatever you call it. And she or he is a voting member, gets to vote on that.
No, she does. I know it is, but she doesn't get to vote.
She's a board member.
Not anymore. She gave it up a year ago.
Board members vote on it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is she's not on the board.
Board member.
Yes, the fire district board members vote.
So
Yes.
I thought about it and I thought, well, a mayor or whoever's on the board representing the city
Mhm.
should probably hear from the council what we thought about the tax increase that we never discussed or talked about. We just heard the presentation and let it die. I'm thinking, well, the board member that represents the town probably should vote the way the council might want or the citizens, or would he vote the way he wants to? So that's what brought it up. And then I didn't agree with the first one, and I know Justin fought really hard at that 100%.
90%, yeah, 89%.
102%. So I dug a little more digging and thought about it, and 52% is what they're asking right now, which is really way out of bounds in my opinion. And based on what I heard, a lot of it is they need raises to be able to keep their employees here. So I did some research and I found out that Hurricane Fire District pays higher by 32% than a lot of districts in the area. I didn't take that to heart because it's internet and it's facts. So I thought about myself, and I don't want that 52% increase. And the reason I don't want it is because I represent the labor force of America. We build America. You wouldn't have your houses, you wouldn't have your streets, you wouldn't have your infrastructure if it wasn't for the labor force. But the labor force never gets benefits, doesn't get paid very by the hour, doesn't get vacation time, doesn't get insurance, doesn't get any of this stuff. But yet we break our backs. So you guys can have everything you got and me, and they want a tax increase because they want a raise. Well, they can afford that tax increase because they're getting a raise and the workforce is not. So it's on the backs of the working man, not the public employees, not anything to do with that civil this. It's the working man, the middle class, low income people that are bending over to get this tax increase. So I wanted to make sure that everybody here felt good about saying, yeah, we agree to that big of a tax increase. Because it's going to be landing right on my back. I don't get no raise. I don't get vacation, I don't get nothing. So I have to come up with the money. The people that get raises, they don't have to come up with the money, they got extra.
I still have to come up with the money, but yes, I'm
Yeah, but
hearing you.
they're
I'm
getting paid.
self-employed too, Wayne.
They're getting another 5,000 a year and it's gonna cost them $198.
So let me
So I
just
just-
throw my opinion in here, okay? Last year, they proposed, or 2 years ago,
yeah.
okay, 100% tax increase, okay? They had an open meeting. The public appeared in numbers,
Droves.
almost 1,000 people there, okay? And the board listened to the public. This is not a Tocqueville issue. Has to do with the board members and the open meeting participants that want to voice their opinion to
Wait
the
a minute,
board.
though. The reason it can be a city, and I think the reason that they're asking for some type of a letter in agreeance or disagreeance or
Yeah.
whatever,
Oh, I have no
is
problem with the letter.
because the board members are made up by the constituents of the cities.
Exactly.
The fire district is made up of the cities that represent it.
Sure,
So I
True.
think what they're asking for is
but
whether or
members of
not-
our city, some are in favor of the
Yeah.
rate increase, some don't want anything, and some are in the
Some
middle.
do.
So I
I
don't
think
know
what
how
they're
the
looking
city,
at is like, so we represent our constituents.
Yeah.
So
but I don't
they
know
would
what
like
the
us
city
to
can
submit a
do
letter.
with respect to, this is our position on it, when we have citizens that don't want it, do want it, and are in the middle. So how can the city really represent the public?
It's simple.
Well, I don't think they're
It's
asking.
very
that, are they?
simple. We all hear the public, we all hear the complaints, the yays, the nays. We're here as a city council to make the best decision for our citizens and for the fire district. That's how we do it. And our vote might be 1-4, 4-1, 2-1. So, but if we're unanimous or we're split, whichever it goes, that's the way we should, if it was a 3-2 in favor, then Justin should vote yes. Because that's the best we can do by what we gathered from the intel to try to serve our
Wayne,
citizens.
I can't vote. I don't have the budget in my hands. I haven't had a chance to review the budget. So I.
We can't
I
vote tonight
can't-
anyways, but we can
Well, we're not-
discuss
I'm not
it.
asking for a
Right.
vote.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
So
should we be?
I would
united?
love to discuss the budget tonight. I mean, I know the budget, I know where we're at. I don't have exact numbers, but I can tell you where the fire district is. I have been working on this for 2 years. I've been working on this.
Well, it's not what I'm asking. You're
Right.
missing the point.
No, I'm hearing you. How do we,
I'm not asking for a letter.
Right.
But I'm asking for you
Mhm.
to have the support of us.
Right,
So you're not voting without us.
right. I'm hearing you.
I mean, I don't want you to go over there and vote yes or nay, but if it's unanimous that we all feel that they deserve that increase, then you should go and obviously vote
Right.
for us. But
But I would love to discuss the fire district truth and taxation tonight, just so we here can understand what they're trying to do. So and I want to bring it back. The first thing I want to remind people is this is a just in case track. We're trying to not even have this tax increase. So we have to pass this tax increase because this won't go into effect until the end of 2025 or 26. If we can get the state to pass the sales tax increase of 0.003, which is 0.3 of a cent, then this tax increase that we vote on next week won't even go into effect.
They
We
only
will
do
not.
one- They can only take funds from one or the other, either.
No, we
That's
can
very
keep the property tax and we can get sales tax.
that's the part I totally disagree with, because if you're asking for 52% and in truth and taxation,
Right.
it goes to the commissioner and they vote yes.
Yes.
Then they get the $1 million shot in the arm, they keep it.
No, they don't. We as a board have stated and very, very, very vehemently says, if we get the sales tax, we will stop the truth and taxation. We will reverse it from the 52% probably to a 10% decrease. And that is the board, as a board, that is our control.
Where's the timing thing? Which
So-
happens first?
So we vote on the truth and taxation in this month. That's what the county wants us to do. In our next legislative session, which starts in January, runs through March for the state, they have promised that they will make the sales tax thing legal for the district to go up to a third of a cent. on sales tax. And that does not include on medical supplies or food, grocery food. Restaurant food, yes, and other things, they'll add that 0.3%. So if we can get the state to approve that, that'll take until about June to August somewhere to start funding it. But before we get our tax bill in the fall, the district will remove that tax increase off your property tax. And not only are we going to take it off, the 52% increase, the numbers we're doing right now, where it's going to be like a 10% decrease on property tax.
If the sales tax.
If the sales tax goes through.
So
And
none of them will go through until.
we have to, so
November next
just for your information, the fire district, when we did not do the tax increase 2 years ago, they've taken $2.5 million a year out of savings to balance their budget. So we have been a $5 million negative in the last 2 years.
What's eating their budget up?
Everything. The cost of fuel's gone up. The cost of insurance has gone up. The cost of salaries gone up. Equipment, most of their small equipment comes out of their budget, but their big stuff is their capital fees, like fire trucks and stuff. They buy that up with their impact fees. But everything's gone up. Just like your house and my house, everything's gone up. My insurance has gone up. My fuel's gone up. My power's gone up. My water's gone up. Everything goes up. And the fire district's not any different than anybody else.
No,
So-
except they're the taxing entity that will benefit either way they go because they'll get their raise.
The employees will get
Yeah,
their
and
raise.
And the working man out here that builds America.
I
doesn't
agree
get
with you.
nothing.
I agree with you.
So I'm very cautious to support anything that hurts.
But
The
would
working-
you rather have a working man have to pay $12 extra a month and have his house saved, or is somebody that get hurt because we have an ambulance in Laverkin and we don't have to shut Laverkin Fire Station down and have to come from Hurricane? That's what it comes down to.
Well,
Merle can tell you, if we don't get the tax increase, the money, they will lay people off and shut a firehouse down. You're already short.
I don't believe in the scare tactic.
I'm not trying to scare you, Wayne.
Have
This is,
100 They have
we're
104
we-
employees in there right now.
Coming around with us for a couple of days.
You have 104 employees?
I think it's-
Yeah, you have
It's-
104, ranging from 157 plus benefits, 177, clear down to like
That's what you saw on the internet.
2,000 or something.
104 employees there.
How many you got?
I should have about 23 on my crew. I've got 17 because they haven't rehired since people have left because they go to better paying jobs, which I know you don't believe, but they do. And each crew's about that. So each crew, even if we had 20 on each crew, that's 60 of us for the 3 shifts. It's an office staff. We have almost as many as Tocqueville had in here a while ago, and they had 6 or 7 ladies in the front office. We've got 3 ladies in the office, 4 ladies, and 2 planning, or 2 in the fire district.
inspections, yeah, inspections, John and
Yeah, 3 fire chiefs.
a mechanic, yeah.
I went through your 104 people already.
60 and.
104.
That's nothing.
Yeah, I don't know where they get the 104. That's
It's probably,
That's
that's,
a 2023.
that was max numbers they probably ever had, and these truth, yeah.
It's just, the truth and whatever it is.
Our volunteers, we've got 2 volunteers now.
So Wayne, I'm with you. I hate tax increase. But what we've been doing for the last 2 years is trying to get a sales tax.
I know, you've been
And we've
working hard on
been,
that.
we've been
Not
pushing
taking
hard
it
on
away.
it. And I've been trying to get it completely off of sales tax and go completely to sell. Because the big meeting we had 2 years ago, everybody said, we want the tourists to pay as much as they can to help our EMS. The numbers come out now, we were 29% of the calls were for people out of our area. So 29% of those calls, and we're up to 6,000 this year. Where are we at?
No, past 6, we got, just before I got here, it was 4,660 calls.
Yeah, we're going to be we'll be over 6,000. Last year we were 4,500, and the year before we were 2,800 calls. So the calls, so just like the sheriff says, his went from 400 to 700. The fire district's gone from 4,600 this year to over 6,000. So they're just getting
Most all those
busier.
events that come to this area, you can't blame people for coming in for events, but we've got.
Yeah. I mean, they do help pay. They do help pay.
That's another question. You mentioned Red Bull and those things.
Yeah.
So you guys just go up there for these folks and just offer your services and we pay for it.
No, it's not really, they pay a fee, but it's not like, it's,
It's not enough.
yeah. And it comes down to, I think there's some liability, we have to go up there. We can't refuse.
I understand that. I'm just looking for
Right.
solidarity.
No, I agree. I don't want to see any.
When a guy quits and goes to St. George for higher pay, let him go. Who wants to live in St. George?
You're right. We have to let him go, but then we have to replace him.
Sometimes you got to make a choice where you want to live. And we had a general plan and one of the questions was, are you willing to drive 25 to 50 miles a day to keep Tokerville in this hurricane valley like it is? Not so much. And that was overwhelming. Yeah. So people are always going to leave, but the people that really love it here are going to stay.
The problem though with that train of thought sometimes is that the department is spending money to hire, to train.
Retrain.
And buy their gear, all that stuff. And now they've just spent X amount of money to train him up to get him to become a firefighter and he just bolts to another department. So that's the problem is they lose money on not retaining the employees.
Well, I lose money every day because I train and retrain and retrain and retrain and retrain. I understand that program. I'm just, I guess the whole thing,
So,
I
and
didn't ignore it, but I wanted to make sure that we as a group agree to move forward. So Justin has his vote knowing that we have his support or not his support.
I understand what you're saying, Wayne. My question though is then what is the whole purpose of the truth and taxation and having the
public hearing.
public hearing? Then if it's just going to be the city council here dictating to the mayor how he's supposed to vote when he's supposed to take in and represent the entire district. I mean, yes, he's appointed by our council, but he's responsible to the whole district, to the fire department and to all the citizens within that district.
So what you're saying is if all council members didn't really want that, then he should go and vote yes?
No, what I'm saying is he's taken all the information that is being presented to him as a member of the board. It's a separate entity that he's sitting on. So he has to make decisions that not only are going to benefit the city of Tokerville as the mayor, but he's also on the fire district board. So he needs to do stuff that's going to benefit the fire district and the residents that are within that tax district
I
for the
understand
fire
that.
service.
That's why they have so many board members from every town.
I understand
But you
that
have
too.
that, so
Yep.
I know the
equality
solution.
here.
Yeah.
You just got to figure out a way to tax the fentanyl guys.
So,
Then they'll stop making the little blue pills.
I just don't know that the city has to make a stand on this. I think it's.
I think they were just
I think
asking for a letter from
We
what
don't,
I
they were
just
just
read.
asking.
But for
and-
But
the
if we
city
don't want to,
say
then
we want
whatever.
the tax increase or don't want it, I think we don't know what each one of the citizens in this city feels like. And if we want to know what they feel like, they'll be at the open meeting and they'll express themselves at that meeting. And then the board will take all that stuff into account then. So, because our recommendation to the mayor, it doesn't necessarily reflect every citizen in this city. So I don't know. I don't know if
But
he,
how are you even gonna do anything if you don't make a choice what you think's best for the citizens? Either nay or yeah, you have to make a choice. We
Okay.
have to be together or we're not together.
One idea that may kind of address what Wayne's talking about here is maybe there's recognizing Tokerville as a constituent within, along with all of the other citizens. Maybe this body makes a statement or whatever its recommendation would be. And that's part of the public hearing on the truth and taxation. It's not necessarily binding the mayor or any board member on that, but at least states Tokerville's interests are stated as follows, and this is what our comments would be related to. So collectively, Tokerville is represented, but it wouldn't necessarily be a binding or
No.
Would just be a
recommendation
public
to the
hearing
mayor.
portion or
It's just,
Yeah, if I,
something read on the public
I
hearing.
don't know what they're
it'd just be
fishing
added
out
to the
for.
public
I really don't.
if I remember correctly, at previous Truth and Taxation 2 years ago, I think it was Stacy Eaton that read the city's
Yep.
position.
Yep.
So if I remember correctly,
Yeah.
I don't remember I don't recall what our position was. I'm sorry about that. but-
We did.
but we did, but-
opposed. We did. It
Yeah.
was 90% and the budget, the numbers were way out of whack.
Yes.
And so, yeah, we
So
did.
did the county commissioners know that you opposed it?
Oh, yeah, we, it was.
Oh, yeah.
There's the whole thing I'm talking to you,
They
not
were there,
seeing it.
but that all happened at the open hearing.
It did.
Well, it can happen, but
Well, I guess, well,
if you
that,
don't prepare
I
for it
think-
now, then.
Right, right.
What do we do?
That's what I'm saying.
that makes more
So-
sense to me now, because last time, the city actually submitted a letter that was read in the open hearing.
It did.
And I think that's all that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I have no
That's
problem with
And
it.
I'm not saying to
Yeah.
do that.
Right. I have no problem doing a letter and.
I'm just saying we should have a position.
Right, we should, yeah,
that we support or don't support.
Right.
You know, I mean.
right.
And then that has weight with the county commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
If they know that, and it's not just coming from a said board member.
Right.
It's coming from the backing of the town. But we, like Gary says, we don't really know, anybody I ask, oh God, no, they'll always. be
Right,
that.
we always want no
But
tax.
you have to,
But that's the problem
Yeah.
is,
you have to review the facts. Is 50% good or is 100% or is 30 better?
right,
52% for me
it's high.
it's high.
Here's the thing, if we would have done, 2 years ago, if we would have done a 20% tax increase, we wouldn't need to do this today. But they went for the 90% tax increase and we shut it down. But in the meantime, we've been trying a whole other route. So this is, we hope we don't even need it. That's what we're shooting for, is no tax increase, a tax decrease, if we can get the sales tax. Where the citizens, I think, so that's the crazy thing, is the 1/3 of a cent sales tax on the amount of money that's spent every year on our side of the county is $1 million more than this property tax increase. So that's what's, that's what we really want to do.
It's a miniature hit that everybody can enjoy.
Exactly.
That's not $170 more a year.
Oh, I'm with you. Mine's even more than that.
My folks can't afford that. They
Yeah.
just
And
can't.
maybe the letter isn't necessarily directed just to the
The
fire
truth in tax
district. But if you could find the appropriate body or official up at the legislature, those bodies are meeting, the laws are getting prepared. So maybe the city says, hey, we're in favor of this tax adjustment and increase. Otherwise, we're going to have to deal with it on property. So maybe there's potentially 2 letters.
Yeah, we could do
So.
yeah, I would love to see a letter saying, we, as a city, we would love to, we don't like the truth in taxation. We understand the truth in taxation. I personally, I don't want it, but I'm for it because I know where we're at on the budget in the fire district. Like I said, I've been doing this for 2 years. I don't want to see any raise, but we need it if we don't get the sales tax increase. And then in the same letter, say, we would love to, we support the sales tax increase for the EMS services. And if we could, put the letter to the county commissioners, send it to the, Hurricane Valley Fire, and then even send it to our local representatives and say, hey, we really want this sales tax increase, not to have the property tax. So if we can get the sales tax, then we'll do away with the property tax increase.
I think that's a lot better avenue than
Yeah,
52%, but I'm not asking for that. letter.
In lieu of a significant increase in property taxes, this Tocqueville City supports the board pursuing a sales tax increase with the legislature, and that's what we support. And you're not saying, you're letting the board decide whether to pass the 50% increase or not. Because I'm not going to vote on it and tell the mayor what to do with that letter, because I haven't had a chance to delve into it. And 2 years ago, I spent a good 20 hours on that budget.
And the
for
numbers
the fire
just-
department.
they
So
were
I could make sense at what I'm going to say during that open hearing.
So
It took me 20 hours to go through that. I'm not going to do it this year.
So I'm going to put Ben on the spot. Ben has spent some time in the fire district budget. I would love to have your opinion on this.
Yeah, I did. Again, truth in taxation, it's interesting. I kind of follow it throughout the state. It's my fun time of year. So what I would say, I don't think I have anything to say that hasn't been covered. Just to kind of reiterate, the budget they have drawn down year over year in anticipation of a new revenue source from the fund balance. I'm running that fire district from my perspective, from what I see on the financials. If this doesn't go through and the sales tax revenue doesn't go through, they're getting desperate. You have to, and this is operations. This isn't long-term purchasing. They are having to make serious changes to the operations next year if nothing happens. And, again, I'm not in the operations. All I'm seeing is that drawdown of fund balance. So, the argument could be made, maybe there could be efficiencies here and there in different parts of the budget. But from my perspective, the time for that is not now because of the safety of the community, because it could result in an entire department being shut down, which increases response times, which is a concern for the life and safety. So from my perspective, I see the budget and it's been drawing down. This was kind of the conclusion that I came to, and one more year depletes it completely.
They have enough to get to 2025 then?
We have enough to get through basically 2025. It's gonna pretty much finish it.
So I know Wayne said he was Googling a lot of stuff, so I just pulled up the Hurricane Valley Fire District, and they've got on their website, the 2025 tax increase proposal is on their website. The first thing it says, it would pay to maintain the current levels of service to the district. So do we want to tell our residents that, hey, your local fire station with the closest one, which is what they're proposing, Laverton, correct, to be closed?
Well, we would try to keep Laverton open and close, hopefully I hate to say it, but the main one in Hurricane right there on 100,
Okay.
200 East. I mean,
Okay.
just because.
So,
but
all right,
that's
so
it.
anyway, to maintain the current level of service, whatever the district decides. But is that something that our residents are in favor of, risking their first responders or their EMS, their fire protection and everything else coming here because of this tax increase? So that's one of the first things. It also says no new employees are being proposed currently. We talked about it, the mayor talked about it, how this is going to bring, if it goes through, it'll bring in 2.3 million, which is they're running at a 2 million for the last 3 years deficit. If you look down below, it has the tax rate histories. So if you go to 2017, and hopefully I'm reading this, and you can help me.
Yep.
So 2017, the tax was the highest. And
The mill levy.
The mill levy was the highest at 0.001408. And then as truth in taxation does, it goes down every year because more is added to it. So it went from 0.001408 to, in 2024, because they haven't done stuff, it's at 0.000699. So you can see over the years they've had, it's gone down half and half. Now shame on them for not doing the truth in taxation periodically as they should have. So right now they're proposing 0.001063, which is still lower than the 2017, the 2018, 2019, and 2020 rates. So what they're proposing is still lower than what those rates were back then.
The reason that they could propose that is because every time you get more homes.
I understand
it reduces
that.
the
I
levy.
understand how truth in taxation
So
works.
It just doesn't.
But more homes means you gotta cover more homes.
Correct,
You gotta
exactly.
cover more homes,
Yeah.
but
More call volume.
Yeah.
you also bring their levy down because you're generating more funds.
Yes, I
So-
understand.
who's
but-
The amount of funds extra you get when 1,000 homes move in is tiny. You have to do truth in taxation to to ask for. So we're asking for 2.3 million, roll back up. They're asking for $2.3 million. And so now it goes back that pie, we split up into all these pieces of pie. The pie got a little bit bigger. So everybody's wedge got just a little bit bigger. So,
Yeah.
I get it. But
And then like,
obviously,
yeah.
obviously, somebody hasn't done their due diligence and kept up on their budget problem. If it's been it's been so long. And
well, that's why they proposed it 2 years ago, but they didn't want to get enough.
Yeah.
They wanted to go the whole hog.
Well, they got a whole hog,
And
And-
now we've,
shot
Yeah.
themselves in the foot.
Right.
And now you have to spring it on us at 52%. It's a huge shock.
it's like water. It's like
Yeah.
Tocqueville City raising their water rates. It's like the sewer district raising their sewer rates. If we don't do it every 2 years, then all of a sudden we got to go from $15 water rate to $45 water rate. It's like this on everything. And the problem is we keep kicking it down the road. The last city council, we didn't want to raise water rates, or we didn't want to raise sewer rates, or we didn't want to do this. And we don't want to raise the fire rates. We want to wait another year. We want to wait. Well, it's going to go from 52 to 72 to 102, and we're going to lose money. That's just,
You've been watching it lose money for how many years now and you haven't acted?
we have acted. We have
So
been
you acted and-
pushing.
Acted and agreed at 100%, and now we're down to
We
52.
disagreed. We disagreed at 100%. That 89% the last tax
I'd
increase.
say you do 25 or 30%, you take your knocks, and then you go again the next year.
Okay, well, that's good. That's an idea. It doesn't work this year because we've been too many years behind.
Yeah, so,
We have 71 employees in this company.
and the only other thing which both the mayor and Merlin have brought up is 2021, they estimated the call load was 4,500 and they're estimating this year it's gonna be 6,300. So those additional calls is all, yeah, whatever, but that is more money that the district has to spend on equipment, supplies.
Well, I think.
Yeah,
I think
thank
we
you,
all-
Merlin, whatever
We
else.
all are
Merlin.
on the kind of the same page
Yeah.
anyways, but we want to submit a letter.
I would love for you to the city to submit a letter saying, hey, we would, but you want my opinion, I'll type a letter and it's gonna be, I don't want to see the tax increase, but I will, how do I want to say it? I don't like tax increase, but I would approve a tax increase because I know where the district's at. I know how hard they've crunched the budget down.
I think.
And if we can get the sales
Eric said
tax.
it, He's like somewhere around the 30%. I think that's what's in there. I think you said it.
Yeah, I said 30%.
Yeah,
You know,
somewhere around
what
30%,
Wayne's
the
point
city's
is getting it,
capable of-
part of it and part of it, but the problem is I really don't know.
I think
Do
if
they
I was
really
going to
need
draft a letter,
52%?
it would say something like,
Yeah.
we support the increase 30 to,
A smaller increase.
Smaller increase, but
50%.
we also understand.
But the nice thing is
reality of-
if we can get the state to do what we're doing, we're not going to increase property tax.
Well, I mean, this
But we
just,
just don't know.
just to
That's
back
the
up.
unknown.
We don't know, but so just so you know, last year it went through the House committee, went to the House floor and got 100% approval. It went through the House Senate and got 100% approval from the House, not the House, the Senate committee, it got 100%, but then it didn't get put on the Senate floor. And you don't want to know why it didn't get put on the Senate floor? It's because our county commissioners and our Southern Utah representatives threw a fit over a Major League Baseball field in Salt Lake, using taxpayers' money. So the people up in Salt Lake got pissed off and said, you didn't support us here, we're not going to pass your fire district, EMS. So that's what happened.
Sounds like politics.
So
to me.
it is.
Politics. Yeah.
That's what happened. So this year we've got we've been guaranteed without guaranteeing it that this will go through and get passed.
So
The sales tax increase.
I'd love it if it did.
Yeah,
And
so-
I think the letter that you write basically should say, we fully support pursuing a sales tax increase. And that's what the city council will support. And leave it up to the board to decide what percentage they need. And that percentage, I think, will be decided after they have their open meetings. They'll decide whether they're going to move the arrow down or go with 52%. So I don't know that we can sit here and tell them what the number really is, but we can tell them that we support the sales tax.
I agree with Gary.
And that's,
I agree with Gary.
I won't support 52%.
You don't have to.
Well, I agree with Gary not putting that in there at all and just saying that we support the sales tax option.
But you don't support any kind of property tax.
I'm not gonna make a, I'm not gonna.
Well, I'm
make a-
just wondering, they're gonna say,
No, we're-
they're gonna say, are you gonna support any kind of sales tax? I mean, property tax.
Why do we need to,
So,
why
I
do we need,
don't know, I don't know, I'm just
why do we
wondering.
need to make
it's
that
a
decision? I
back-
mean, my decision is,
Todd, it's a backstop in case.
It's a
the
backstop.
okay,
sales
well, my
tax doesn't go through.
backstop then is to support the fire district and what they want to do in order to raise property tax in order to maintain the level of service the district is providing. So whatever
But I-
that number is. If
But
the
I
number
wouldn't
is,
say, I wouldn't say a number, just like you're saying.
yeah, well, that's
The
fine.
board will decide the number.
Okay, that's fine if we want
That's
to
my
do that.
opinion.
Okay.
The board will decide
Yeah,
52%,
the board will
exactly the way it is right now.
Perfect. Just so you,
If
just
they do
to
that,
be
they do
up
that.
draft,
That's fine, Gary.
I'm pretty sure they will, because if you look at, they've lost 2 million a year, they're only asking for 2.3 million. You know, so I just don't see how you could go less than 52%.
But the citizens of this town or city count on us to make these decisions for the city financially. And we count on the board to make the fire department decisions.
But
So
we also have to think of health and safety of our community.
that's what I mean. That's why we
Yeah.
trust the board to make the right decision for us.
Does the city, does the public trust the city council to make the right decision?
They voted us in, so I hope.
They elected us.
I mean,
They got it, they don't even know, I mean.
They elected us to represent them,
yeah.
and that's what they expect from us.
And if they don't like us, then come the next election, they can get rid of all of us.
Yeah.
So if such letter that you support it, I don't support it, so, but I'm not the whole.
Yeah.
Because I have constituents, we all have constituents. I would settle for something less, but I really hope for the sales tax, but.
51.5.
It could end up that way.
But
Depending upon the open meeting, it could end up at 30 or 40,
It
you don't know.
it could.
But I'm going to depend on the citizens and their voice to the board and let the board decide.
So the crazy thing is, once this truth and taxation done, all of the districts board is gonna be pushing the state representatives and senators to pass the other one. We're just trying to get this done as a backstop, then we can work on the other project to get it covered, so we can just do away with the property tax increase. I would love to see a 10% decrease. I'd love to come back and say, hey, we're gonna decrease your property tax by 10%. And not do the 52%, but actually do a 10% decrease. That's what I would love to come back.
Really
The
amazing.
public 2 years ago said, get it from the tourists.
Yep. And this is what we're
That's what
trying
they
to do.
wanted done, and that's
Correct.
what's happening with sales tax.
Yeah,
because it's not affecting food. And what was the other thing, medical?
Medical and grocery store food.
So we're getting it from the tourists.
Yep.
And that's what they wanted, and that's what the board's trying to do right now.
Trying,
So
we're
I'm
trying.
behind them.
I'm behind that 100%. I'm behind the sales tax 100%. And I can't get behind the other.
And the new fire chief is the next city manager.
He is.
Yeah.
He knows how to crunch numbers. Yeah,
Knows numbers.
he does. He's really good at it. And the budget has been trimmed and trimmed and trimmed. So, all right, we're going to move on to calendar event. Our hurricane, we got Hurricane Fire District on the brain. Our trunk or treat is on Saturday, October 26th. So if anybody's on and you got your utility bill, it says Friday, October 25th. That was a mistake. It's going to be on Saturday, October 26th. We will get the word out 6 p.m. at the church parking lot. We're doing a potato bar trunk or treat. Please come and bring your car and decorate it, and so the kids can go trunk or treat.
Do you need help with serving on the bars or anything like that? Or is that all covered or?
We're going to find out from
Okay.
Ben what we need. So we're going to have a few employees there, and then hopefully a bunch of volunteers. And
If you need help, doing something like that, let me know.
Is there a request for volunteers?
what do we?
Haven't put it out yet, but there will be.
If you're going to change the date and let city know, just say volunteers are welcome.
Yes.
Because there are
Idea.
citizens that just
Oh, absolutely.
enjoy volunteering here.
Great.
So we can get lots of volunteers. So, but dumpsters, how they,
I don't think they worked out so good during the weekday, at least for me and some people, because I couldn't get home fast enough to dump all my garbage.
You know, were they full?
There was
The city guys were just keeping them smashed down. In fact, they changed one out the very next day.
Really? Okay.
They were keeping them down, and I know they got to work, but I don't think we had
Oh.
participation.
They were not full.
they weren't full.
Not when
Okay. So maybe next spring we'll go back to putting them around
Neighborhoods.
town.
they do it twice a year.
Yeah. So
For
yeah,
fall or.
next spring. So maybe we'll not put them all at the park.
I went down there.
Because everybody was coming in there in the dark and trying to dump, and
Okay. Yeah, I was curious how it went. So I'll talk to JD, see and how those guys, how they felt. So, okay.
I'd volunteer to go down and smash it on the weekend if they don't want to do it.
Okay. All right. Do we need a closed session for legal, Matt? Are we?
I don't have any.
I do need to do a closed
Oh, you do?
session. But, I just did for the collective bargaining, and for purchase, exchange, or lease of real property, including any form of water rights or water shares. Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
A motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We're going to go into our closed session. So thank you for coming.
Thanks, Val.
See you, Val. See you,
You've been
Val.
watching TV, Val.
He was. He's watching the big screen. I've been more excited. I don't know. It was pretty exciting.
How many people were watching?